evil ones will be fighting themselves for survival because that's all they know. That's why they're protesting in Israel. It's not because they want the right thing to happen. It's because they don't want to lose their rights. Hi, Ellie Weber. Welcome back to my channel, my dear family and friends, brothers and sisters. A lot to talk about. We're coming into the era of liberation. We're coming into Passover. April 5th begins Passover. It's an 8-day festival, not just the liberation of mankind, but also the splitting of the sea. We have to recognize the matrix. That's the main thing here. We have to see evil and leave it. Then we work together to walk towards the promised land. But right now, we must recognize the matrix. We must see it. We must call it out. We must walk away from it. Take our matzah, take our flatbread, take our humility. I live by the idea of hashgacha pratis, in other words, divine providence. So I feel that my thoughts, my emotions, everything that happens to me, things that people say to me, everything that occurs to me, things that pop out at me on the web, everything that comes into my consciousness, to me personally, using the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, is a direct communication to me from God about my service, how to serve God. And this morning, I'm getting messages of shame and guilt and all this, all these people are telling me, how can I criticize Israel? I'm not a big rabbi. I don't really know what's going on. All these kind of thoughts. This is called the matrix, whether it's religious, political, medical, legal, all these things are the matrix. This is a control grid designed to keep us from our true power, which is our innate humanity, our innate connection to source, which is apparently the envy of the universe. The galactics wish they had the kind of connection that we have to Atzmos, to direct knowledge of godliness. And that's why we are so special. That's why humanity has been terrorized. They were able to terrorize because we are really very focused on goodness and connection, just like Adam. Adam was a perfect being, man. He didn't even know he wasn't God. There was no separation between him and godliness. It wasn't until the reptilian DNA got planted into his system and he started having offspring like Cain. When the reptilian DNA was mixed in, that gave him a sense of, a duality, that there was something other than God. There was good and evil got mixed together. But as we come into the final stages of the liberation from the Garden of Eden, or to the Garden of Eden, really, and from slavery, from Egypt, which is in Hebrew is called the narrow place, the matrix, the place of constriction, the place of yesterday, the place where you can't do this and you don't know enough to think about that. And who are you to say this? All these kinds of thoughts, all these shaming thoughts are part of the matrix. Nobody's saying, well, what's really going down here? Where's the justice? That's called God's law. That's called following the Noahide laws. The Noahide laws, which are the rules for the Jewish rules for non-Jews, or the Jewish suggestions for non-Jews, say that you should have a court of justice. This is not called justice. This is called the matrix. This is called confusion. Just like the banks. This morning I wanted to transfer some money from one account to another to pay off some bills. You have to wait 3 days. You have to do this. You have to jump through this hoop. If you want it this way, you pay this interest. I mean, PayPal is famous for this, charging interest for, if I want it right, if I want my money right away, I have to pay them something. I mean, this is the matrix on steroids, and we are getting to a place where we do not want any more of this. Now, I'm just going to mention Israel briefly. I just want to say that justice has to be delivered. You cannot have the elites running the world because they like it this way, because they went to the best colleges, because they know the right people. They have this so-called investment advisors. This is not going to fly anymore. We need justice planet-wide, not just for the non-Jews, for the Jews as well. Everyone must have justice. And the Supreme Court in Israel is not justice. Now, am I a rabbi? No. Am I qualified to speak on this? No, according to a lot of people. Who am I to say these things? Who am I to talk about reincarnation? I'm not a big rabbi. I haven't studied Kabbalah for years. I have studied Kabbalah for years. because I believe Kabbalah means that which you receive. And I've been open to receiving messages from Source directly. Now, whether this is registered, whether or not I can put this in my bank account, that's another question. Probably not. It has to go through the matrix in order to be certified, to be legalized, to have the right paperwork, to sign the right forms before you can be considered a real human being. This whole structure will be completely annihilated, and we will walk together out of the matrix, out of Egypt, out of the narrow place, through the splitting sea, not by using our intellect, not by using our degrees or our paperworks or a notary or interest rates or insurance or the IRS. All these illicit structures are falling away into the sea. They are melting before our eyes. We're in the plague of the firstborn before Pesach. The enemy, the evil ones, will be fighting themselves for survival because that's all they know. That's why they're protesting in Israel. It's not because they want the right thing to happen. It's because they don't want to lose their rights. They don't want to lose their privileges. They don't want to lose their ticket to freedom, their money, their big universities, their favored status. That's what the liberals are all about. There's no altruism. There's no we want justice. They say they want equality. They say they want justice. That's just an example of the tree of knowledge where good and evil are mixed together. And you can say, I'm a great humanitarian while you're stealing my money. That does not make sense, okay? It doesn't really fly. And as we come into this new awakening, all these structures will fall away. So I'm just letting people know that I have reached my maximum saturation point where I do not need to be told to anyone that I'm not qualified to speak on a subject, that I don't have the right certification, I don't have the qualifications. Who says? What's the right qualification? Is a Harvard education the right qualification, or is that just propagandizing? Is that just keeping the elite structure alive? All these structures will be gone soon. We will be walking arm in arm. Where we go one, we go all. Nothing can stop what's coming. Whether you're trying to install a religious conviction, there's a lot of that, even coming from the patriots. This is not just this kind of oppression, this kind of matrix system is not just reserved for the deep state. It can come from any source. It could come from some of the greatest patriots that I follow on Telegram have an agenda and they want me to be a certain way. And if I'm not that way, I'm not really following godliness. I'm telling you, man, we're coming into a world. We're coming into a world where everyone will be recognized as a godly creature, where everyone will understand that their birthright, that qualification of having the DNA that you have by being you, you are totally qualified to communicate with Source directly, and that you are the envy of the universe, according to my sources, because you are a human and you have the genetics of Adam, and you've taken the serpent DNA and you've transformed it into a force, into a power for good. So we are coming into the Great Awakening. We are coming into the age of Mashiach, of the Messiah. Who it is, we don't have to argue about. You may see one Mashiach, I may see somebody else. I don't know. I suspect that at some level, people will be recognized as quantum sources of information, as quantum powerhouses, and that it could very well be that Messiah that I see is different from the Messiah that you see. And that's okay. We're coming into an age where we're not going to be limited by these petty barriers, by the matrix, by these petty rules, by the banking rules, by these little interest rules, by all these little stoppers. The legal system is completely run in a Satanistic way. The judges don't say, well, let's see, what's the most just thing to do here? It's all about motions. It's all about, myself, for example, I lost my job because I didn't want to submit something that was not good for me. Okay, so I lost my job. They said, you can't get unemployment. You'll never work again. And right now we're in the time on the Jewish calendar where the last plague, the plague of the firstborn, which means that the firstborn knew they were going to die if something didn't happen. So they fought against the regular Egyptians. They said, let the Jews go. Let them go, man. Let them go do what they got to do. I don't want to die. So there was a war. So evil destroys itself in the end because kind of an ego structure. It's based on the model of Tohu, where it's every man for himself, and whatever I can get is a good thing. And if I have to take it from you, that's not a problem. This structure is going forever. We're going to be arm in arm. Where we go one, we go all. We will walk together into the promised land. So this is a two-step process. First, we have to leave slavery. They say 90% of the cure occurs, if you have a sickness, when you recognize you have the sickness or you have an issue. Once you recognize it, you can cure it. So if you see the matrix, if you see yourself, if you see them demanding that you get things notarized, or you see your insurance policy making certain demands, or your banks, or your lawyers, or your teachers, or anyone, or your religious leaders making demands on you, saying, well, you really should do it this way. How do you know? Do you have a direct line to God? Did you discuss my case? Do you understand that you're putting shame on another human being? That's not so nice. To shame another human being is a very low form of control, and we are leaving. We are pulling off our shackles forever. We're going to walk arm in arm. We're going to create a new planet. We're going to be fruitful and multiply. We're going to live in a godly way. There will be no more criminal activity. There'll be no more corruption. We will walk together. There'll be no more interest rates, no more mortgages, no more credit card scams, nothing, man. We're going to be liberated once and for all. We're coming into Passover, starts April 5th, okay, goes for like 8 days. But this is the beginning of the end of the matrix. We are leaving slavery forever. We are going to be going together into the promised land. It will take everyone. Everyone must wake up just to whatever degree you can, in whatever way you can. And we must realize that we have exactly what we need. We're given the information we need. We don't need to read books. All the rabbis from the old days said, when the era of Mashiach comes, you won't need books. You won't need experts. Look what the experts have done to us. Look at all the holy people from Harvard and Yale and all these other Satanists. Look what they've done to the world. You really want to trust them? I don't think so. I'm not in. Okay, so please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so I can send you other videos. Have an incredible Pesach, a great Passover, a time of liberation. Enjoy your family, and may the force be with you. May God bless and protect you. And let's get out there with a big smile and rock the world.